If you have been seeing posts online about a U.S. airport crackdown involving new biometric verification changes, and you are scared that you might be detained, denied entry, or flagged at the airport simply because of upgraded scanning technology you don't fully understand, I want you to know that your concern is completely understandable because the information circulating online about these changes is scattered, technical, and often presented in the most alarming way possible without actually explaining what is happening and why it matters for your specific travel situation. You deserve a calm, clear explanation of exactly what biometric verification changes have been made at U.S. airports, who these changes actually affect, what the process looks like when you travel, and what you should do before your next trip so that you arrive at the airport prepared and confident rather than anxious and confused. Welcome to Immigration Law Alerts, where we give you immigration and travel information that is factual, calm, and completely free from the exaggeration that is making ordinary travel feel terrifying right now. Let me start from the very beginning because many people watching this video may not have a clear understanding of what biometric verification is and why the United States uses it at airports. This is not a criticism, it is simply that biometric technology is technical, and the way it is reported in the media often assumes knowledge that most people do not have. So let me break it down simply. Biometric verification means using your physical characteristics to confirm who you are. Your fingerprints, the shape of your face, the pattern of your iris, and even your voice are all examples of biometric identifiers. These characteristics are unique to each person, and they are very difficult to fake, which is why governments use them for identity verification in immigration and border security. When you travel internationally and arrive in the United States, Customs and Border Protection, which is the government agency managing border entry, and is known as CBP, uses biometric data to confirm that you are the same person named in your passport and visa documents and to check your information against security and immigration databases. The United States has been collecting biometric data from international travelers for many years. This is not new. What has changed recently is the scope of biometric collection, the technology being used, the locations where it is deployed, and some of the specific procedures that travelers encounter. The term crackdown in the title of this video refers to an intensification and expansion of these systems, rather than a completely new program appearing from nowhere. Let me explain specifically what has changed and expanded in the U.S. airport biometric verification system. Customs and Border Protection has been rolling out expanded facial recognition technology at an increasing number of U.S. airports. This program is called the Biometric Entry-Exit Program, and its goal is to create a comprehensive biometric record of who enters and who exits the United States. Facial recognition cameras are now operating at departure gates in many major international airports, meaning that when you board a flight leaving the United States, a camera scans your face and compares it to photographs already in government databases, including your passport photo. On the entry side, facial recognition technology has been expanded to cover more airports and more processing lanes. At airports where this technology is deployed, travelers walk up to an automated kiosk or camera station and have their photograph taken. The system compares the photo taken at the airport to photos already associated with your travel documents in CBP databases. If there is a match, the system confirms your identity and processing continues. This often happens very quickly, sometimes in seconds. Additionally, CBP has updated the requirements for certain visa categories and travel authorization programs regarding when and how biometric data is collected. The agency has also expanded the use of mobile biometric collection capabilities, meaning CBP officers in certain situations can collect fingerprints and photographs using portable devices rather than only at fixed processing stations. Now let me be very clear about what this crackdown does not mean. It does not mean that CBP is using biometric data to randomly flag innocent travelers. It does not mean that travelers are being detained simply for having their biometrics scanned. It does not mean that the U.S. is building a surveillance network to monitor people inside the country based on airport biometrics. And it certainly does not mean that normal travelers with valid documents and clean records need to be afraid to travel. Let me address the most common rumors that are causing fear. Rumor 1, the new biometric systems are so sensitive that even innocent travelers are being falsely matched to criminals and detained. Exaggerated and misleading. While no technology is perfect, CBP has procedures in place for when biometric systems do not produce clear matches or when questions arise. A potential mismatch triggers manual review by an officer, not automatic detention. CBP officers are trained to handle technology errors, and the standard procedure is to verify your identity through additional means such as reviewing your documents in person. Rumor 2, the biometric crackdown means CBP can now read your phone and access your social media during airport screening. This is a different issue from biometric verification and is often conflated with it in alarming posts. Biometric verification specifically refers to your physical characteristics, not your devices. While CBP does have legal authority in certain circumstances to inspect electronic devices at the border, this is separate from biometric verification and not new. The biometric changes being discussed relate specifically to facial recognition, fingerprints, and similar physical identifiers. Rumor 3. If you are a green card holder or long-term visa holder, your biometric data will now be used to investigate your entire immigration history every time you travel. Misleading. CBP does check travelers' immigration records when they enter the United States, and this has always been the case. The biometric verification confirms your identity, and then your records are reviewed as part of the normal entry process. This is not a new investigation of your history triggered by new technology. It is the same entry review that has always happened, now using more accurate identity confirmation technology. Rumor 4, the facial recognition system is racially biased and will cause problems for travelers from certain ethnic or racial backgrounds. This is a legitimate concern that has been raised by researchers and civil liberties organizations regarding facial recognition technology in general. CBP has stated that it works to ensure its systems meet accuracy standards across different demographics and that officers conduct manual review when systems do not produce clear results. If you experience any issue that you believe involves discriminatory treatment, you have the right to request the name and badge number of the CBP officer and to file a complaint through official channels. Rumor 5, you can be permanently banned from entering the United States if the biometric system incorrectly matches you to someone else. False. A biometric system error does not result in a permanent ban. If there is a mistaken match, the situation is resolved through manual review and correction of records through established procedures. CBP has processes for travelers who believe their records contain errors. Now let me explain precisely who is affected by these biometric verification changes. Foreign nationals entering the United States on any type of visa, including tourist visas, student visas, work visas, and all other categories, are subject to full biometric collection, including facial recognition and fingerprint scanning. This has been standard practice for years, and the recent expansion primarily involves more airports and more advanced technology being deployed at those locations. Citizens of countries in the Visa Waiver Program who are traveling to the United States for short visits without a visa are also subject to biometric collection. Before traveling under the Visa Waiver Program, you must have an approved ESTA, which stands for Electronic System for Travel Authorization, obtained through the official CBP website. The biometric collection happens when you arrive at the U.S. airport. Lawful permanent residents, meaning green card holders, are subject to biometric verification when returning to the United States after international travel. Your biometric information was collected when you applied for or received your green card, and it is on file with both USCIS and CBP. When you return to the United States, facial recognition and fingerprint scanning confirm you are the same person listed on your green card. U.S. citizens traveling internationally will encounter biometric systems at U.S. airports, but have somewhat different rights and protections regarding biometric collection compared to foreign nationals. U.S. citizens cannot be denied entry to their own country, and certain constitutional protections apply to how biometric data from citizens can be collected and used. U.S. citizens going through facial recognition exit scanning at departure gates are technically participating in a program where they have some opt-out rights in certain contexts, though in practice the cameras in many areas photograph all passing travelers automatically. Now let me explain what the actual experience is like when you go through biometric verification at a U.S. airport, because knowing what to expect makes the process much less intimidating. When your international flight arrives at a U.S. airport, you will be directed to the Immigration and Customs area. At many major airports, you will encounter automated kiosks or camera stations before you reach a CBP officer. You will be asked to look at the camera, sometimes scan your passport, and the system will process your information. This typically takes only a few seconds, and most travelers pass through without any issues. When you reach the CBP officer, if you are a non-citizen, you will typically have your fingerprints scanned using a digital fingerprint reader. You will be asked to place your fingers on the scanner, and the system will collect your prints and compare them to what is on file. The officer will also review your passport and travel documents and ask you questions about your trip. If you are selected for secondary inspection, which is additional review, you will be directed to a separate area. Being sent to secondary inspection is not unusual and does not mean you are suspected of wrongdoing. Secondary inspection simply means a more detailed review of your case. Most secondary inspections are completed within an hour or two, and the traveler is admitted to the United States. When you are departing the United States at the airport, you may encounter facial recognition scanning at your departure gate. At airports with this technology deployed, a camera photographs you as you approach the boarding area. This photograph is compared to your passport and visa information in CBP databases to confirm your identity and record your departure. For most travelers, this is completely seamless, and you may not even realize it is happening beyond seeing a camera at the gate. Let me now explain what you should do before your trip to ensure that biometric verification goes smoothly for you. First, make sure your passport photograph is a good quality recent photograph that clearly shows your face. Facial recognition systems work by comparing the photo taken at the airport to the photo in your passport and visa documents. If your passport photo is many years old and your appearance has changed significantly due to aging, weight change, or other factors, consider renewing your passport to update the photograph even if your passport is not yet expired. Second, if you have any condition that might affect fingerprint scanning, such as very dry skin, skin conditions affecting your fingertips, or other physical factors, be prepared to mention this to the CBP officer if the scanner has difficulty reading your prints. Officers are experienced with these situations and have alternative identification procedures available. Third, ensure that all your travel documents are in order before you travel. This means your passport is valid, your visa is current and appropriate for the purpose of your travel, and any other required documents are complete and accessible. Biometric verification confirms your identity, but CBP also reviews your overall admissibility and document status. Having your documents in order is the most important thing you can do to ensure smooth entry. Fourth, if you are traveling under the visa waiver program and you need ESTA authorization, apply through the official CBP website well before your trip. ESTA applications should be submitted at least 72 hours before departure, though applying earlier is advisable. Make sure you are applying through the official government website and not a third-party site that charges excessive fees for submitting what is essentially a straightforward application. Fifth, if you are a green card holder and you are returning from international travel, carry your green card with you at all times and present it at the CBP inspection area. If your green card is expired or about to expire, you should address this before traveling. If you have been outside the United States for an extended period, particularly more than 6 months or more than 1 year, this may affect your re-entry and you should consult with an immigration attorney before returning. Sixth, if you have any outstanding immigration issues such as a pending application, an upcoming court date, or a previous issue with your immigration status, consult with an immigration attorney before traveling internationally. Leaving the United States and attempting to re-enter can trigger scrutiny of your immigration history, and outstanding issues could create complications at the border. Now, I want to address a question that many people have about whether they can opt out of facial recognition scanning at U.S. airports. The answer depends on who you are and where in the airport you are. For non-citizen foreign nationals, participation in biometric collection, including facial recognition, is generally required as a condition of entry to the United States. Declining to participate in biometric collection can result in denial of entry. For U.S. citizens at departure gates, CBP has stated that citizens have the right to opt out of facial recognition scanning. However, opting out may cause you to go through alternative identity verification that takes more time. Let me address the data privacy concerns that many people have about biometric collection, because this is a legitimate area of concern. CBP collects and stores biometric data from travelers, including photographs and fingerprints in government databases. This data is used for identity verification, law enforcement purposes, and security screening. CBP has privacy impact assessments and policies governing how this data is used and retained. You can review CBP's privacy policies on their official website. If you have concerns about how your biometric data is stored or used, the official CBP privacy resources provide information about data retention periods and how data is protected. Before I close, I want to reassure you about something important. The expansion of biometric verification at U.S. airports is designed to make border security more efficient and accurate. For the vast majority of travelers who have valid documents, clean records, and no outstanding immigration issues, these systems simply make identity verification faster and more accurate. The biometric systems are tools that CBP uses to confirm you are who your documents say you are and to ensure there are no flags associated with your identity. If your documents are in order and your immigration record is clean, these systems are working for you, not against you. Let me also remind you that immigration rules rarely change overnight and due process exists. Biometric verification is part of an established legal framework governing U.S. border security. Even when technology changes, the fundamental principles remain consistent. Verify identity accurately, check against security databases, and process legitimate travelers efficiently. The legal protections governing how travelers are treated at the U.S. border, including rights during secondary inspection and procedures for addressing errors, have not been eliminated by biometric technology. If this video helped you understand what the U.S. airport biometric verification changes actually involve, what to expect when you travel, and how to prepare for a smooth entry experience, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to Immigration Law Alerts and turn on notifications so you receive accurate and calm information about immigration and travel developments. Share this video with anyone you know who is worried about traveling to the United States because of biometric concerns. And if you have specific questions about your situation, leave them in the comments. While I cannot provide personal legal advice, I can address common questions in future videos. Thank you for watching, and remember, prepare your documents in advance, understand what to expect at the airport, stay calm during processing, and consult with an immigration attorney before traveling if you have any outstanding immigration concerns.